I mean, we just don't want to talk only about the problems that we face, right? But also about solutioning. And I just started to speak about Uber Pool and how we couldn't imagine a world a couple of years ago where we would match real-time strangers into the same car, going the same direction, and not creating additional traffic. And then I spoke also about how we see real life impact in our cities already. This is a map from San Francisco, which shows the density of traffic if we had not Uber Pool in those cities. So you see in the middle all these yellow and red dots, which indicate that there's a lot of traffic, potentially slowing down as well the city. And on the right side, once we introduced Uber Pool, and it became a pretty large chunk of our business in our hometown city. So pretty significant impact on the traffic as well. So far, we saw at Uber 320 million miles saved by sharing rides. That's the distance from here to Mars. Imagine that's the kilometers where two people or more sit in one car. Otherwise, they would have probably gone after each other and just slowed each other down. But it's also translating to fuel, 6 million gallons of fuel, saving CO2 emissions, but also in Bangalore itself, I'm very proud to say, is one of our top 5 cities for Uber Pool. So a lot of people like sharing rides together. Every 4th Bangalorean has already tried Uber Pool and is sharing rides. And that means that a lot of the impact that we're having, especially we're having as well in India. And I think that's something where we have over 30 cities globally that are big enough, that have the density enough to share actually rides on Uber Pool. And 9 out of those 30 are in India. Huge, huge opportunity for this country to jump also car ownership. And that's something I'm personally very passionate about. If you think of it, car ownership on this planet is, in the West, every other person has a car. That means in the US, the entire country could just get into the cars and nobody would sit on the back seat. In India, we are at 5% car ownership. Maybe in Bangalore, it's 15%. But imagine we want to still go from 15 to 50%, how our cities would look like. That's also impacting what riders are paying, because ultimately it has to be affordable. 47 crores so far have been saved in India on Uber Pool just by sharing the ride, sharing the cost, and being able to use this nice alternative. But Uber Pool won't solve our issues alone, right? And also Uber alone can't do it. So we need strong partners. We need to connect with other mobility players in smart cities. And that's why we believe that we need to work very, very closely with public transport. And actually data shows that Uber is complementing public transport. This is the map of London, and all these these white dots are actually tube stations. So far, and that's in a, let's say, relatively immature state of where Uber stands right now, just a couple of years into the market like London, every 3rd trip is already ending at a tube station. So people are using Uber a lot to just get the last mile done, get to the tube station, then take the long distance ride, and then get out of the tube, book again in Uber, and again do the last couple of kilometers. And as long as the tube or the metro does not drop you at the door, we will have to connect to other complementing modes of transport. And what I find very interesting is 2 years ago, the London tube also opened up during the night. So we can actually see what happens once that they inaugurated that. So that's the night tube. So that is running all the night during the week. And what we saw is that especially in the core of the city, we saw less people taking an Uber close to these metro stations, meaning they were switching to the tube, but we saw growth on all the outskirts. So at the end of all these lines, our trips from these metro stations grew, which indicate that people are taking the tube in the city, getting out, and then booking an Uber. I think it's an amazing, amazing collaboration that can happen here. And we do that. Like, let's look at the US. All these multiple partnerships that we're having with various cities where the public transport companies in those cities are working very closely with the local Uber teams, trying to solve the problem, and the ultimate problem is car ownership in itself. That's what I just was referring to. We don't want people to buy more cars, but rather rely on a dense network of opportunities that you can use in the city, be it by using Uber, by using public transport, sharing your car, auto rickshaw, etc. So if we all have shared mobility solutions, that will ultimately help us fighting car ownership as a whole. But again, let's look at Bangalore, right? We are very proud that we closed a partnership with Namma Metro, the local metro player here, where we have booking kiosks at different metro stations, helping the population to book a trip just for the last mile. And you always have to consider, right? Downloading an app, booking a car is still something very elite and very for a small population in India. So taking that extra step, getting into the metro station, helping people to book a ride for the last mile, and making the overall package of public transport and Uber as a package more interesting, more reliable, more affordable, that's the goal here. On the left side, you see our founder meeting the Chief Minister of Telangana, inaugurating Uber Moto. Uber Moto is again a product which is interesting because it's very, very complementary with public transport. You wouldn't get on an Uber Moto from the airport, right, with luggage. It's mainly something you want to use for 2 kilometers and not much more. So most of our Uber Moto cities are very much connected with public transport and are stationed there and helping riders just to connect for the last mile. But as we are a data company, we have a lot of data, and we are happy to share that with cities and making cities smarter. We started a portal that is called Uber Movement, where a city can log in and can analyze data that is getting gathered through the Uber app. You have to imagine in a city like New York, every single meter of the city is getting touched by an Uber car every 10 minutes. So you have a lot of data on how traffic is flowing, how riders are behaving. There's even data where there are potholes in the city, because the driver app recognizes if you drive into a pothole. And we can all make this data available, and Uber Movement is a portal where we connect with cities, making cities smarter, because we believe if a city is getting smarter, if mobility is getting smarter, we as a company also benefit a lot. Overall, what's the future, right? We believe in a future where there's even more shared options out there, shared mobility, where we can use not only your own car, but many options available. Some of them could be on the Uber app, but also self-driving cars will obviously support us. You must have heard that we are a strong advocate for self-driving cars. It's a huge investment into safety of our cities and solving this problem, because a lot of the problem is around coordinating traffic and taking the human factor out of traffic. We also see that shared rides, ride sharing is on the rise, and especially for countries like India, we believe by 2030, a fourth of all traffic on roads will be shared, and that will help our cities to, again, free up space, free up time, and making, hopefully, a city that is gray, that's full of traffic, that is taken up by parking and bridges and vertical storage places for cars into more green spaces again, and can free up and really make our cities affordable and livable and reliable again for our next generation. Thank you so much, and I'm really happy to connect with anybody, because I truly believe We need to make our cities smarter together, and we have a couple of answers, but not all of them. Thank you.